We'll call to order the Town of Pembroke Park amended agenda workshop commission meeting Wednesday, December 4th, 2019, approximately 6 p.m. Discussion, we stand and we'll pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call the roll, Susan.
Good evening. Clerk-Commissioner Jacobs?
Here.
Commissioner Cohen?
Here.
Commissioner Dieuveille?
Here.
Vice Mayor Clark?
Here.
And Mayor Mohammed, absent.
And she has an excused absence. Let's just put that down on the record. Do we have to vote on that, or can we just say it? I think she's at a seminar, right?
I'm not familiar with where
I
she
don't
is.
know, but that's what I thought. Okay, so she's got an excused absence.
Vice Mayor, if I could interject through the chair, please. At this meeting, we won't be having any actions or going ahead and making any votes.
Yeah.
So just going ahead and providing the information is sufficient.
Okay, yep, thank you. And while you're here, come on up and let's introduce you. You know, and it's, and this is our new temporary clerk, Marlene
Martell.
Martell. Okay, nice
I want to
have
thank
here.
you very much. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner. I know the mayor's not here, but your commission, your staff, residents, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I know that you have an extensive meeting today, and I'll be part of your presenters, but I wanted to thank you for going ahead and supporting me and giving me this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us.
Okay, so we have a discussion of regular commission meeting of December 11, 2019. Number 1, report subcommittees and city staff. Number A, report Finance Department Assistant Finance Budget Director Taubenfeld. You want to come up and give a report or talk to us? Bills, $500. Leave report. Bank balance, December 4th, November 2019 revenue and expenditures.
Good evening, everyone. Harry Taubenfeld, Budget and Finance. What you have in front of you are your standard monthly reports that the Finance Department distributes. The first one being the bills over 500, normal standard stuff. Just to note that the payment in there for Grau and Associates at $10,500 is partial payment of the additional amount of additional work that they provided for us to complete the audit. There's still a balance that is due. We're still waiting to get the final invoice from them. So there is a minimum another $10,500 that's due to them. And depending on what we get the final bill, we'll know exactly what the total dollar amount is. But it should not exceed $25,000. Are there no questions on that? Then I
There
guess
is a question. So
ahead.
is everything going timely?
Timely, it's going to be tight. I think the town manager could probably be better to define to you how the status she's been handling and dealing with JLAC more than I have and dealing with the auditors. So if it's okay, I'd like to defer to the town manager and she can better answer that.
Okay, do you want it now?
Yeah, it just,
Okay. As you know, JLIC did approve our requests, and they gave us to we asked for November 30th, and they gave us to December 16th. The auditor will have a draft report to us this Friday, he promised. I did let him know that he would not get his last payment until we receive a report, okay? Because we wouldn't have any leeway, and we have to bring this to fruition because we have about $1.2 million that are on the line if we lose that. And they are not playing now. They will start January when they have their meeting, and those people that have not gotten things to them, they will start holding up their state share revenue dollars.
No problem.
okay, any more questions?
Right now, we may have to call, and I need to put that out there now, a special meeting because our administrative letter that they sent us we will address it, but it has to be approved by the commission, and the audit has to be accepted by the commission. So he's putting us in a tight frame, and I'll work as hard as I can to get it to you on the 11th, if you get it to me on the 6th, and try to address the issues. But if not, it gotta be approved before it can go out to the Attorney General's office by the commission. So I have to put it out there now, in case we do a call to do one.
Questions, anybody? Very
Thank
good,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Harry, you got any more, or commissioners, do you have any questions for Harry? Okay,
The good work.
Yes, Commissioner Jacobs.
so B, report BTR Billing Administrator Grooms. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, good evening, Commission and staff. Michelle Grooms, Billing Administrator. You have the two reports normally that I give you. That's, I'm going to go down to the one that says the balance of accounts. This was the one that we had renewals, and I
It's-
explained to you that each year we just roll them over, but you wanted me to give you an update on what was pending prior to. And the list is going down. It's just a continuous process between the Code Enforcement Department and myself. So that's where that one is. And we can go back to the regular billing and collections, the BTR billing. And it's 2 pages because now we're in the current fiscal year 2019, 2020. This is just an overview. I have 3 sections: the reimbursable expenses for projects. There are 2 pending that we're still trying to collect from. The annual billing. If you scroll down to the red section, the renewals are pre-billed, and they're due by October 1st. And it just gives you a breakdown of what we've collected. But the amount that is outstanding right now is 7.5%. The average is 7.5%. So you add that to the write-offs, which were the adjustments, another 2.7. We've collected over 90%. So it's looking very good, and I've had a lot of help with administration getting out the reminders to our business owners. And then the last section, which talks about the assessments. We have a couple of issues where we're trying to collect. But overall, the year started out very well with collections. Did anyone have any questions? Okay,
No questions? Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, C, report Building Official Nunez.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners,
Evening.
Manager. As I report every month, we still continue to be praised by our customers and developers for the good customer service that we provide at the building department. In regards to the numbers, we have, from previous month, we have a small decrease in inspections. It's up here because of the season. We have 213 inspections for a total of 96 structural, 61 mechanical, 27 electrical, and 29 plumbing. In regards to the revenue, actually, we have less expenses on this month, and we have increased our revenue. So that means we're building a little bit of surplus as we go into this year. Let's go how the next month is going to be portrayed onto this particular revenue and expenses. In regards to the construction projects, I would like to inform you that in Seneca, Building 2 and 3 has already received a second review cycle, and we have meetings with Prologics and to the architects for the comments that will arise onto those particular buildings. We expect those buildings to be issued somewhere between January, February, just as an information. Same thing happens with the Pembroke Plaza, which is the proposed shopping center in Highlander Beach Boulevard. It's a second review cycle, and I personally have meetings with the architects and the developer responding to the comments, and we expect that to be issued somewhere, sometime before the end of the year, if they respond the way I expected them to respond. And in addition to that, standard permitting, single-family mobile homes and additions, restorations, alterations. And if you have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir.
When is the Seneca project supposed to be completed for Building 3?
Well, Building 3 is in plan review right now.
Okay. When's the date that it's estimated?
Normally, those buildings is like a year.
A year?
Approximately, depends on what the schedule goes, if they don't have any constraints. So we expect to be into 2021, early 2021.
Sounds good.
Any more discussion? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
D, report, Code Enforcement, Chief Code Enforcement Officer Lewis, Jeffrey Lewis.
Good evening, Town Commission. Jeffrey Lewis, Chief Code Enforcement Officer for the Town of Pembroke Park. Just a quick update, which is our status report for the month of November. And on our report, we've had 6 different incidents. Actually, there's 7 incidents in regards to for the month of November. The one that's not included is in regards to the Superfund site. That's on Southwest 19 Carolina, and it's just overgrown vegetation. They haven't maintained it, so we're contacting Broward County to make sure it's cleaned up and taken
And
care
where
of.
was, I'm sorry, where was that?
The Superfund site, which is right off of Carolina and Park Road,
Okay.
it's overgrown vegetation, and we just need to make sure it looks clean throughout. From that, for the month of November, we have 5 new cases that we've opened, and we're still tracking about 18 cases that's going on from the previous month. Majority of them are overgrown vegetations, need to clean up their lots and everything. There's a few that are in progress with permits, and so we're just monitoring that to see if everything has been closed out. If not, then we'll move forward towards the code board. Under closed cases, case number 4673, that's an error that should be part of the ongoing cases. Those permits have not been pulled or completed as of yet, so we'll move forward with that case. Other than that, is there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
May I, Vice Mayor? Going back to new code cases, I believe it's number 4755 that I'm looking at.
Okay.
4520 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard. Would that be by chance, is that by the police station across the street from BSO? Because we have that site there. I was actually out there today, and I took pictures, and it is terrible. There's trees growing, there's just so much, it looks like a jungle.
Okay.
I don't know who owns that. Is that Avi? That might be his site.
The one with the green fence that's around it?
Yes, yes.
So there's 2 separate sites, the one that's directly
The one
across.
with the green around it, and it's facing Hollandale Beach Boulevard, and it is an eyesore.
Next to the,
Town Center site.
oh, the town center site. Yes, that's actually a separate site. We
I
have
know.
been in contact, that whole thing has been in litigation, but we've sent our notices to the proper handler of that case.
That's the one directly across the street from BSO.
Correct, yes, and I've taken new pictures. That
Okay,
whole
yeah.
place has overgrown and hasn't been maintained.
Okay.
I did speak to the contractor that actually cleaned up the lot and everything else prior to, which was back in January, February timeframe when it was actually cleaned out. The issue that they're having now is that because of all the weed killer chemicals and lawsuits that's been going on, they haven't really gotten a contractor to actually want to utilize those weed killers to kind of keep the lot maintained, which for us, that's not our issue, that's their issue.
issue,
So
correct.
they're going to need to figure out a way to cut, clean, and maintain that property.
I had residents that brought it to my attention,
Yes.
and I was out there today, and I've seen it, and it's not a pretty sight.
Right. And I was able to go into that actual site, and from where we saw it last, it was completely overgrown with the trees and everything else. So
Okay.
a new violation has been issued for that location.
All right, well, thank you for being on the case.
Yes.
So anything else? Anybody else?
How long do we normally give them to before we take action to pretty much resolve the situation?
Depending on the case or what the severity is, if it's dealing with additions or building permits, we try to give them 30 days so that way they could come in and get their permits and at least start the process so that way they can get that clarified. If it's something like cutting the grass, mowing the grass of an empty lot, we typically give about 15 days so that way they could get somebody in. Otherwise, we move forward, try to bring it towards code board to have that resolved. If they don't do anything by then they have a per diem that's assessed by the code board.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What phase are you in right now as far as with that property?
With that property, that is a new violation that was
Okay.
issued due to the fact that they had a previous violation, which entailed not only cleaning and cutting the lot, they had reinforced beams that were sticking out of the ground that they needed to cap. They also had a section in the back of the property that was cut open to include like a water line in the back that was left open that they needed to fix. There was graffiti all over the screening and trash and debris outside of the fence as well onto Hollandale Beach Boulevard, and which they needed to take care of all of that. And we worked with them throughout that process to have everything cleaned up and taken care of to the point where last month we were able to close that case. Once we went ahead and did another inspection, we noticed everything overgrown once again. So the contractor at the time provided pictures and assessments showing that they contacted the building department, showed everything was taken care of. And so we closed out that case and opened up a new one.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so you're done, Jeff?
That's all,
Okay,
unless
thank
there's
you.
any
Have a
other
good evening.
questions.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have E, report, Public Safety, Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, and Chief Coker.
Good evening, everybody. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Town Manager, and all the other respected people that are here. I just want to introduce myself, Lieutenant Christopher Dieuveille, and give you your public safety report for the month of November. In the Town of Pembroke Park, we had 662 calls for service. From those calls of service, 286 of those were generated by the 911 emergency system. We had 152 of those that were non-911 calls, meaning they were non-emergency calls through our non-emergency number. And of that, we had 224 field-initiated calls, which means 224 calls where our deputies on-viewed something and responded to something self-initiated. In addition to that, we also had 137 park walk and talk initiatives, which means that's the deputies getting out 137 times to meet with citizens and or business owners, to greet them and to ensure that everything is up to par, and just to get that community policing out there. We had 37 traffic investigations, and we issued 74 citations, and we had 28 felony arrests. That does not include the misdemeanor arrests that we had. And again, this is just for the Town of Pembroke Park, that they had going on at the moment. The actual event last night, since our fire partners are not here, for those that were here last night, I think it was a great success. Our building hosted a Stop the Bleed event, which was a great success. I was very thrilled to see so many people there, and I think fire department did an awesome job in the building, presenting that to the citizens. And the captain and I, we were very gracious and that you guys would use our facility because, like she says, our police department is your hometown police department. So please remember that the community events room is there for your utilization. We love hosting events there and interacting with the public. So please, more to come. That'd be great. So thank you for using our facility last night. I think the turkey event went really good for Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. We were grateful to be out here and hopefully help resolve some of that traffic flow issues. And we look forward to being at the planning meeting this week, actually tomorrow at 10 a.m. for your upcoming toy drive and to assist the town with that. If there's any questions for me at this time, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I'd like to say something, Vice Mayor. Can we take item I and bring that to, and we can knock that out?
Yeah, okay.
Right,
I-
because that
let-
has-
Let me state it.
Go
then-
ahead.
Then we got it on the record. I report update of Stop the Bleed informational workshop event, Commissioner Cohen.
Yes, well, I would like to say I attended that event, that town event. It was a great event. It turned out very well. We had a lot of people there. It was very informative. A lot of people left there, I have to tell you, with a lot of education, a lot of information. They were all very happy. I want to thank the fire chief. He's not here tonight. I hope to see him next week so I can thank him. I want to thank you, Coker. Thank you for letting our town use your facility. It turned out to be a very great event, and I was very happy to be a part of that. And thank you.
May I say something, Vice
Of course,
Mayor?
yes.
It was a wonderful event. At least 5 of our staff members went, and we were all just amazed. I mean, I learned a lot that I did not know. How to stop a bleed in case it happened, in case it gets shot, and it was just amazing. But what we did take from there, and I talked to the chief and I talked to Todd today, is that I would like to have that workshop here for our staff, especially the public works staff and the parks guys, because there are children always there, older people, anybody could have an accident, and that's a workshop that could benefit all of us and save the town. You know,
Absolutely.
it was just
It was
an
amazing.
amazing event.
And thank you for that. And one more thing I wanted to bring to the commission's attention too, is that I paid for that event. I donated the water and the chips for that event, so it was under $50. That was my way of giving to our citizens. So, you know, I'm very thankful that I was able to attend that.
And
Thank you.
We thank you very much for
You're welcome.
spearheading that and taking that action.
And if I may say, I didn't want to steal
But
their
it was
thunder
a nice
yesterday,
time.
but it was a very timely event because actually Captain Coker and I, we have an Employee of the Month program in the district for your deputy sheriffs here. And our actual Employee of the Month for November was Detective Saeed Jadala, who actually performed CPR on a newborn infant and saved the child's life. We had a mother and father show up after hours at the district office, creating a ruckus outside. Detective Sajal was happened to be working late, heard the commotion, looked outside, saw them running, panicking up and down the parking lot, went outside, ascertained from them that their newborn was not breathing. He went into the car, saw the newborn was blue in the face and was not breathing, and started performing CPR on the child. And within a couple of minutes of CPR, the child responded, began breathing. We got fire rescue there, took him to the hospital, and that baby's alive today. So it was actually a very timely seminar as well, you know,
Yeah,
for
and
our own department.
I'll tell you, everyone that I've talked to so far that went, you know, some of them that were there, and the ones that left, that were leaving, they did not leave unhappy. You know, they were all, you know, I mean, they all learned something, they left there, and they were just, you know, happy that they had that opportunity to be there. So, it's, you know, it was a very life-saving event, and I'm glad that the town was able to put on that event. And thanks to the fire and police.
Anything else?
And one last thing, I think we need to thank Captain Coker for donating us 40 turkeys for the Thanksgiving drive.
Yes.
I mean, it was,
It was very nice. Thank you.
now we got a toy drive going.
No pressure, right?
Okay.
I just thought I'd
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay, and we had now F, report, or do you have anything else, Commissioner Jacobs, with that? We're all set? Okay, very good. So we have F, report, fire safety, Commissioner DeVille and Chief Kane.
Not here. Oh,
Okay, so you're all set? Okay, so we have G, report, Parks Department update, Supervisor McKine. There is none. H, report, status of town projects, Vice Mayor Clark and Public Service Director Larson. Todd, do you want to give us an update on everything you're doing?
Yeah, briefly, we're still working on the HMGP, which is the grants based on the damages from Hurricane Irma that that was received in South Florida. The one for the town hall project, we've completed our public comments period, the advertisement, and there was no questions or issues. And so that information's gone back to the state. So we should be getting, hopefully pretty soon, notification of the funding of it, of the improvements to this building. The other part of the HMGP, which is the two drainage projects, we had a question, an engineering question. They had thought that they were done with the engineering review, but then they came back with another question. We answered the question and we provided them the other information, so that should be hopefully enough to finish that review. Once the engineering review is done, the only review left of that is the environmental review and public comments. And so we should hopefully pretty soon be starting that final phase. And if that's all successful, then we'll have the money for finishing the drainage on John P. Lyons and putting the initial drainage in for Southwest 25th Street, which helps the Park Road area and everything over there, Park Road, Park Lane area. And will provide an outfall for the Lakeshore Mobile Home Park. So it's a big project and it's a very important project and it looks very good. The lighting project across the street, the phase that we've been doing is complete. There's a couple things that's still going to be coming through, which is a couple of additions that the engineer is going to recommend that are done to improve some lighting because of where the tree locations is. They may have to eventually put some more poles and stuff. But what we did is we stopped where the funding stopped, and then we're going to bring it back like another project where when funding becomes available again, we can do it. But we won't be funding those. We've met the requirements of the grant and we met the requirements of the code for lighting in the park, but there still are some areas that are still dark, but they're going to give us a recommendation on what it would cost to do those areas. And then we'll bring that back before you and let you know what the story is on that. And then the CDBG 45th year project, which is the restroom facilities in the park, which if we do anything where we're going to close that building down or do something with that building, we will need. We got the final grant agreement in today, and we're in the process of putting that forward. The other thing that we received was a time extension for the playground equipment to get the paperwork done after the first of the year, so that if we don't get it completed before December 31st, we're not in violation of the grant. That doesn't officially have to come before the commission because of the changes. There's nothing but a time extension, but I just want to keep you informed that we did get an extra time in case the construction time overruns. And that's my report. Oh, other than I've been asked to look at price of tiling the clerk's office, and I'm in the process of that. I got the data finally today because of what we pay for the other. And I'll be making a recommendation next week on what we can do with that.
You still haven't set up a meeting with O'Reilly.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, could you?
Oh, if we could get a meeting with O'Reilly,
Yes.
the district secretary of FDOT, so we could continue working on that light across the street, the traffic light.
Right.
No further questions?
I'll say one thing, if I may, Vice Mayor. Todd's been doing a good job. He's been working on the walkway. He's got the guys working. So I'm very pleased, with that. So keep up the good
And we're
work.
going to continue until it is complete.
And I know you will. Thank you.
Okay,
I have a quick, Todd, on 52nd Ave, are those AT&T trucks that's out there?
Yes, believe it or not, they are finally moving the wires from the old poles onto the new poles so that the old poles that are leaning all over the place can be pulled out. Hopefully that'll be done very soon. The rate they're going, they'll probably be done this week or next week at the latest with moving all the wires from them. And I think the Comcast has already moved. If it is, then I think this is the last of the wires that are on the pole. And the poles will be able, the FPNL will be able to remove the poles.
Two questions. The light situation for the apartment over here, did you figure out if that was our light, the city light, whose light it was, and get that fixed?
Yeah, the light belongs to the property.
Okay.
They've got a burn-out bulb or something probably in the thing. They tend to last quite a while. She didn't remember it as being theirs.
Okay.
FPNL changed it, I think, the last time for them.
Okay.
Just to keep them quiet, but they hadn't volunteered to do it this time.
All right. And
Because
then,
they're going to need a bucket truck out there to reach it, that's why.
okay. And then the lights, Antique Row again. You want to take a look at those, see if they're working right? Because they were
Staying on, or?
Yeah, they went out and then they came back on when I was out there the other night. So
Okay, I'll have them checked again, because there may be a problem with the timer or with the,
yeah,
with
there's
the
something not right with
photo
it.
cell. I'll have that checked out.
Okay.
Because I know we corrected, we had them all working, except for there's one that's got to be replaced.
Okay.
And, but we're following up on that, trying to get an exact match.
Okay.
But I'll check out that.
okay, let's move on to J, report, town manager, monthly report, town manager, Muse-Salters.
I will have a finished written report. I have most of it done, but in doing it, you realize how much you're doing when you start actually putting it down on paper. And I will send it to you tomorrow. And it encompasses August, September, October, and November. The report will encompass, and it's everything that I've done. And I will be bringing a monthly report every month until you all decide as a commission the format of the report that you want. But according to the ordinance that has the town manager in it, it says that I'm to produce a monthly report.
Okay, so any more questions from anybody?
I have a question. Is it just what you've worked on before or also upcoming?
It's gonna be up until now, and then I will give you, what I plan to do in the future. There's a lot of work, as you know, in here, and I do plan to try to give a plan. One was when we came in, was the minutes, and I think they are already almost up to date. And thank you all for bringing in an interim deputy clerk, because with her knowledge, skills, and abilities, we should be able to get that clerk department where it should be. And there's a lot there. We've been dealing with the audit, but I have other plans. We didn't have the retreat, but I'm gonna have to bring that forward to you, our future plans that I would like to go forward with.
You have something to add on this? Multiple times I've been asking the town manager to provide us a weekly executive summary report. I've given her the format of what I wanted to provide to all the commissioners to keep us up to date on what's going on in the town. So there are no surprises for all of us when we come to these meetings, and we're aware of any situations that may come up, like our air conditioner going out or our audit not being completed on time. Multiple times, the town manager has refused, given many reasons why it's not going to happen and why she's not willing to do that. So at a later time, I believe we will discuss this matter again, but I've asked repeatedly, to the point, the last email I sent out last Monday, she refused to even respond to the email or comply with the request. So I'd just like to make all the commissioners aware of that was out there.
And I would like to address that. I have not ever refused to do anything. I like that to go on the record. And I did share the email with the commissioners. I think we do need to discuss that email at a different time. And if it cannot be resolved in a civil manner, I would like to call for an attorney-client meeting where it does not have to be publicized, and I would like to have my attorney present.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so we'll move on to, which one are we on, 2? Yeah, discussion, deputy clerk position, Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, A, 2019-11-05, fact-finding report, revise or revision or reference 2019-11-06, what is it, 6? Yeah, 06, NJ. Jeffrey?
This is, with regards to this situation here, we're going to have a special meeting that is revolving personnel issues. We're also going to have to consult an attorney prior to continuing with this item. So we'll need to postpone this item till we can get legal counsel to review this prior to bring it to the commission. But we will need to have a special regarding personnel matters on this.
Okay. Chris, is that?
I'm sorry, if we could please.
No, I'm just asking Chris, is that what we have to do?
Well,
I just want to make.
the deputy town clerk was retained by the commission, by ordinance, by resolution of the town commission, and serves at the pleasure of the town commission. So as such, the town commission has the authority to terminate the agreement at any time, as with other department persons of the same level as retained on under those circumstances. So this is the first I'm hearing about this from Commissioner Jacobs. If the commission wants to move forward with action, they're entitled to it. But if you have a different plan that you want to address, then open to that. But you do have the authority to terminate her employment at any time.
And we don't need an attorney?
You got an attorney.
Oh, you have, well,
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure we're moving in the.
I don't know
we're-
if Commissioner Jacobs is speaking about having an independent counsel, or what your
We need
idea
an
is.
employment attorney specifically when it involves this case, because there's some backlash that can come back to the town regarding this issue, and I'm trying to prevent the worst of the situation coming to this town, and so I believe it's in the best interest of the town to consult an employment attorney regarding this matter before we proceed.
So can you, what are your feelings on that, Attorney Ryan?
Well, if the county commission, as the commission determines that it's necessary to bring in outside counsel, that's fine. We've worked with employment counsel before on other issues, and they've done a fine job. And if that's what the commission determines, that's fine. But again, my position is that this town commission has the authority to go ahead and terminate the employment if they so desire.
Now, may I? I'm just, only because we hired a HR person to clean up that mess and to give her report. And we all know what her report was, and it's public record. I just don't want to, and I understand what you're saying, and I respect what you have to say. I just don't want to cost the town any more money. And it's not just the town, it's the taxpayers. You know, because this is costing taxpayers a lot of money, and we gotta stop with this. And we gotta do, we can't be fooling around, and I just wanna do what's right. I mean, if you're saying what's right, but I don't know, because you got the attorney saying we can terminate, and then I'm listening to you. So, but I wanna listen to my attorney too, our town attorney. And I just wanna make sure that this is not gonna drag on, and that this, because this can cost the town a lot of money. Now we're talking attorney fees, when we already have an attorney. Okay, and, it's gonna take up more time, and it's not right. It's not fair to the taxpayers. So, that's all I have to say in that matter, but, I don't feel good about it, and I'll leave it on that note. And Attorney, I'm gonna leave it in your hands.
I'll address that for you. I'm with you. I want to get it done as quick as possible.
Okay.
But I've also been the one cleaning up the clerk's office and finding everything that's going on wrong, and things that have not been done properly for a very long time. So I'm trying to make sure we make the exact right path when we go to do this, to make sure there's no backlash back on the town after the fact. And I personally feel there will be if we just jump ahead instead of doing this properly. I think it needs to be done properly and correctly, and I think we need to involve an employment attorney before we proceed to the next step.
Well,
Chris?
you know what I would say, let's put it on the agenda for next week and we vote on it, whether we go this way or that way. That's what you have to do. The commission has to decide.
Well, let me just tell you this
Or-
way. If we
okay.
go the wrong path, we could be facing millions of dollars of lawsuits.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost the town a great deal, if not the town.
Right.
So you can either hire an attorney, make sure it's done properly now, or we can face the backlash afterwards. And I'm not one that wants to do that. So I'm trying to save the town and do this the proper way.
I would side with Commissioner Jacobs because
Well-
you gotta have an employment, someone that specializes in it. So we really know what we're doing is right. I agree.
And listen, I agree, I understand what Mr. Jacob is saying, and I
Commissioner
respect.
Jacobs.
Or Commissioner, but I also have to respect what our attorney says too, and if he's saying we don't have to, but I'm gonna ask, what about our managers? What do you think?
Well, first of all, you cannot make a voting decision in a workshop meeting.
Yeah, we know that. I said put it on next week's agenda.
So I would agree with Vice Mayor Clark that we take it over to the next meeting and then make a determination as to what you want to do. You got time to think over it for another week, and then you can decide, all of you can call the attorney and let him know your concerns and why you need that type of an attorney.
Yeah.
But we cannot do any action right now until next week.
No, I
So
understand
I'm
that.
saying just let it go on the agenda until next week, and then you all can go to make a decision. But according to and I'll just leave it like that.
And put it down under Commissioner Jacobs and he can make his motion or whatever the attorney and him decide on how to draft the language. That's your item. One thing I would like to ask Attorney Ryan, when does the 90 days expire?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't have the
It's the
calendar in front
first
of me.
week of January. My staff have been counting on the calendar, finance, because and thank goodness, they didn't want the 90 days to roll over, and then we would have had a problem, and if we had not done anything. So the first week of January is when we have to do something. That's
Okay,
90 days.
so that's I mean, I understand what Commissioner Jacobs is saying.
I do too, and I,
Okay, so we'll vote on it next
vote
week.
on
You
it
put your
next week.
motion down, how you think it's right. And
gives us more time to think
I
about
think
it.
it's January 4th is the 90 days.
Okay. Okay, so there being none, anything more on J? Number 2, discussion, deputy clerk position, clerk commissioner Jacobs. We already did that just now. Number 3, discussion, town clerk department procedures, interim deputy clerk Martell. Clerk's office report.
Good evening, everyone,
Hi.
again. What I did was I submitted to you basically a one-week report from the week that I've been here. And what this has done is to provide you with an assessment, a very small assessment of what I've seen in the department thus far. And I'm not going to get into every single item that there is here because what I'd like from you is to look at this report, notice the areas that I've made my recommendations, where we're going to be able to make sure that your public notices are placed properly. We're going to go ahead and create timelines, so there's no longer items coming in at the very end of the, right before the meetings come. So you should have sufficient time to review all of it. I'd like from you, and of course, you're not making a vote tonight, but this is some of the things that are placed on there, is to change your workshops. Your standard meetings are by ordinance, and they are stated to be the second Wednesday of each month. What you don't have in your ordinance is your workshops. So if we can make your workshops 2 weeks prior to your meeting, that gives everybody sufficient time to be able to get all the documents to you, make sure that our attorney is providing the complete resolutions and ordinances. So when you receive your package, there is no questioning and nothing is given to you on the dais, because that doesn't give you enough time to review it. It doesn't give our residents enough time to review it, and that's what we're trying to avoid going forward. In addition to that, what I've also will be discussing with you is your procedure of your meetings. One of the reasons why I'm not sitting in today and I won't be sitting in the December meetings, because I want to see how your meetings roll. So this will give me an opportunity to actually talk to you about, okay, so why don't we make some changes to your meetings so that you're not here till 10 and 11 o'clock at night? How can we condense some of this stuff where you still provided the information, but you don't have somebody here, going ahead and making presentations. So there's many ways in which we can help each other and come up with some suggestions and recommendations that I think will help with your meetings. As you go down the line, I have 10 items is what I've given you, because there's no need to go, overwhelm you. Number 9 is basically Robert's rules as how the meetings are to be run, giving you some insights as to resolutions, ordinances, all kinds of different things, even some ways to cut back on cost. So one of the other things that I have here as well is that when you're receiving these reports, it's easier if you have the reports, and then if you have questions from those reports, the manager can go ahead and help you with it as well. So again, it's a lot of streamlining that what I've come forth, and this document has short-term and long-term. So you have other things that I'm going to, bring forth that I'm happy to discuss with all of you. I'm available to you so that we can fine-tune this document, and I have the exhibits in the back, and that's the last thing I'll go through with you guys. And the reason why you have these exhibits is because this is going to be the consistency that you're going to be going through. So whenever you have an item that you want to bring before the commission, you yourself will be providing the memorandum, so that gives everybody here exactly what you're going to be talking about. There's no surprises. We know you're going to be talking about this discussion. You're going to be placing on here if there's any resource impacts, which that's the fee that it's going to cost. So if you're, let's say, I'll give you an example. You're bringing forth an event that you'd like your commission to take into consideration. Well, you're going to put down, this is the event, this is what the approximate cost is, and why you're doing it, and so on and so forth. That way, your commissioners are now no longer trying to guess what this item is. You're going to have it exactly on there. So that's the memorandum that you'll all have. And, what I would recommend is that you work with your staff, and your staff will be the ones to help you with that memo when the time comes. Will be your notice. Notices have already been posted for next commission meeting, which is scheduled on Wednesday. So this has already been taken care of. You have your agenda. Again, your agenda, I keep everything simple. Let's keep it simple so that people don't have to guess what is going on. They can see it, as soon as they open up the page. And the same thing with your minutes. One of the reasons why you're so bogged down on so many minutes is because of the extensive minutes that you've been obtaining. Your minutes should be what actually happened, what was the action of the commission, because your interaction up there, you're going to be able to see it on the TV. You're going to be able to pull it up on YouTube, and that will determine every single one of the reasons why you voted a certain way. But what the residents want to know is, how did this affect me, and what was the outcome? That's what they want. They want to know, was it approved or was it denied? I've added one more thing back here, which is a decorum. And I think this is really important because a lot of times you as a commission don't know how to address when you've got a resident up here that's talking to you in a manner where it's disrespectful. Well, guess what? You're not able to do that to me. And you're not able to do that to each other. You all should be treated in a manner in which if somebody up here starts to attack you in any which way or form, they can be asked to please leave the room. And this is, to me, it's important because I believe in helping the municipality to stay in the limelight, but a positive limelight. I don't believe in liabilities, and I don't believe in negative exposure. Let's keep our town to be positive. In every which way. The last one that I have here, and it is just an example. So you have an example of what I'm talking about. This is your current way of hosting meetings, and this is your proposed way of hosting the meetings. And this is with the workshop being as it is stated today. This one's with the recommendation of every 2 weeks. So what I will give you in addition to this is you will have a timeline where you will know my items are due by such a date. And I have to get it to her because otherwise that is the only way the clerk's office can provide you with an agenda that has all your items. So this will also be part of what you will be receiving, and that will be in months in advance. So it isn't like, okay, she gave it to me at the last minute. No, that calendar will be the entire year. So you will have this to go on as you go forward. And the last item I need to let you know is, and again, you're not going to be voting, but you need to know this. Your next workshop is scheduled for January 1st, 2020. So unless you guys don't want to party on the 31st, we need to see alternative dates on having that workshop. So again, it's just for you to understand. My recommendations, again, would be to have it either December 23rd or December, I believe it's the 26th or 27th. The 23rd is a Monday, the 26th is a Thursday, and the 27th is a Friday. So you may want to take that into consideration. I'm sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, I talked to the mayor when I was preparing all the RFPs, and I mentioned to her about the first because it's very critical on when our RFPs go out and come in. And she mentioned, I believe, the 8th and the next one, if you're still keeping the workshop. And she was supposed to come and, well, she's not able to be here tonight, but she did mention when we were doing the workshops, when we were doing RFPs, when I talked to her, because she realized the first was that. And I could have Joy get in contact with and see if those are still the 2 dates.
Yeah, January, currently our next regular commission meeting is scheduled for January 8th.
And
So if you wanted to
move
have,
that one, she was going to just move them down.
okay, so move them down. What you were recommending was to move it down, like the 8th have the workshop
8th
and then
and
15th have the meeting?
Right. I believe that's what she, in January,
Okay.
what she had proposed when we were trying to come up with the dates for the RFP.
Okay. I mean, we can also do something else with the workshop and leave our regular meeting on the 8th, but again, we can discuss this further, but I wanted you to have the options and so on and so forth. I can forward to you some options once, I actually look at the calendar and stuff.
What I would like to do is put it on the agenda for next week, that we vote on this and get it straightened out.
Correct.
And to start the process of changing the workshop. I think that's a great idea, to give us an extra week in between where we're not always bogged down.
Yes,
I think that's a great idea. So maybe first reading, Chris, could we do that next week? To change the date of the workshop?
The workshops were scheduled by resolution, so that could be, you don't need to have a first and second reading. So you can just, if you determine that's what you want to do, you can do that by resolution.
Okay, so
to schedule those to the Thursday,
Well,
fourth
she's-
Wednesday of each month, so that it'll end up being 2 weeks before the next meeting, something to that effect.
That would be good. Commissioners, any idea on that? Ray and Jeff and Gina?
I've discussed this in detail with the clerk, and it's something we need to go forward with, but we need to workshop at least 2 weeks prior, so we can
Okay.
go over everything.
So put that down on to vote on it, a resolution by Attorney Ryan.
Okay.
And we'll change it.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Do you have any questions for me?
On there as well, we need to schedule a date for the workshop. Or for
Do
January.
that by motion at the next meeting. If you're going to reschedule both of them, you're talking about the ones.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about changing the
January.
town meeting,
Yeah,
the
for
meeting on the
January.
8th, but the workshop will have to change because that's on the
Okay.
1st.
So I thought you were talking about the 8th and the 15th.
No.
For January.
In January, we have a meeting on the 8th. And then the workshop was supposed to be on the 1st. What we're talking about is just moving the workshop to like the 26th, which is like a Thursday,
Okay.
prior
And
to.
then keeping
so
the January meeting on January.
Keeping the,
Okay.
keeping the meeting on the same date so we don't have to change the meeting, which is complicated and changing. Change the workshop, which is very easy to change. So we'll change the workshop to like the 26th as an example versus changing the meeting. So that's a Thursday evening.
Okay, and then the other item, have a resolution where we split it up and change that workshop, so we're
2 weeks prior.
before.
Now, on that workshop, are you going to retain this 6 PM time, starting time, or 7 o'clock? What time do you want? 6 PM? Okay.
As long as that's okay with Ray.
It's
Ray?
fine.
Okay, you said it was okay.
It'll be the fourth Wednesday of each month at 6 PM.
If everybody else agrees with it.
I thought it was the third.
It turns into the second and fourth Wednesday of each month.
They're 2 weeks apart, so
Yeah.
you'd have a meeting
I see
every
what
other
you're
week.
saying.
Mhm.
Okay.
Versus having two meetings and then having 2 weeks with nothing. So it's just a meeting every other week then.
Do you have any further questions?
Great job. That was a good suggestion.
No, thank you.
We need a 5-minute recess. A recess, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody good?
Making a joke.
That was great. Okay, so mic's off. That was, Marlon, that was a wonderful analysis, because that's going to give us time that we can puff and get ready. Thanks, Miriam.
I think that when you all get used to being able to work more with the staff.
Yeah, well, don't look that way, because then you're talking to two commissioners. No, look right here. Okay, she's overhearing it. She's eavesdropping. It's okay.
No, it doesn't matter.
Wait a minute, I think it's going. Is the mic still on?
Hello.
Her mic still on? I know. Oh, it's still recording. Come over here. Come on. No, I ain't taking no shit. No, you can't have two commissioners discuss around each other.
No, you guys are in a setting where I've advertised.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. If I get in trouble, you're
No,
responsible.
you're not at all in
Okay.
trouble. Only because this is an item here. So this is just.
Now we're safe.
Oh, my legs, I had to stretch.
Take care.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
open, so I'm gonna,
Meeting resumed at 7:14.
okay, we're back in business, and now we're gonna go to, are we done with 3A? Are we done with 3? Okay. Number 4, discussion, approval of minutes, Assistant Town Manager Daughtry, Clerk Commissioner Jacobs. Do you want me to read the minutes into the record? And then
All
we-
of them,
and then-
verbatim.
Yes, verbatim. Okay, A, workshop meetings. Number 1, 10/3/2018. Number 2, 10/10/2018. Number 3, 11/01/2018. Number 4, 01/02/2019. Number 5, 01/07/2019. Number 6, 03/13/2019. Number 7, 05/01/2019. Number 8, 06/05/2019. Number 9, 07/03/2019. Number 10, 08/12/2019. Number 11, 09/09/2019. Number 12, 09/09/201. That must be a typo? That has to be.
I'm going to assume that's a typo of 2019.
And then let's direct staff to verify it.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Mr. Daughtry's here noting it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. B, regular commission meetings, and we're going over number 4, discussion approval of minutes. 13, 10/10/2018, 14, 11/05/2018, 15, 12/17/2018, number 16, 12/19/2018, number 17, 12/26/2018, number 18, 01/01/2019, number 19, 05/05/2019, number 20, 06/12/2019, number 21, 07/10/2019, number 22, 08/26/2019, number 23, 09/11/2019. C, special commission meetings, number 24, 10/22/2018, 25, 10/24/2018, number 26, 10/30/2018, number 27, 11/20/2018, number 28, 07/10/2019, number 29, 07/17/2018, number 30, 08/01/2019, number 31, 08/12/2019, number 32, 09/09/2019, budget, number 33, 09/23/2019, final budget, number 34, 09/23/2019, and number 35, wait a minute, let me take a drink, 09/23/2019. That completes your workshop meetings, your regular commission meetings, and your special commission meetings. Is there anything else you want me to say, or I'll turn it over to you, Jeffrey? Commissioner Jacobs.
Those are the minutes.
Those were the minutes. Okay, is everybody satisfied with that? Okay.
Which will be approved at the
Special meeting.
regular meeting. Right.
Okay, so I'll go A, workshop meeting minutes, 10/18 through 09/19. B, regular commission meetings minutes. C, special commission meetings, 10/18 through 9/19. Wow, that was a lot, and congratulations whoever helped, and that's Agatha, our town manager, and Susie.
I think we should thank Susie for
Oh,
working all those hours on getting that
yeah,
done.
and she was like a statue in here. Every day you'd walk in, you'd see her right there, you know, with Mr. Daughtry peeking around, making sure she's working, and Agatha. Okay, so all the kidding aside, great job. That really helps out a lot. Right, Chris?
It will be very helpful, yes.
Good. Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, we're done with that? We're done with that, Jeff?
Yep.
Commissioner Jacobs? Okay. And thank you, Madam Manager, for the minutes and directing Susan. I know Susan did a lot of the work, but you also kept an eye on her. and made sure it was done, and everybody came out with flying A+.
And I
Okay.
would like to say something, God, I came in at the right time.
Yeah,
Susan has worked really hard, and because you all passed them the way you did the last time, and said that when we have corrections, anything, we can bring those back. Well, the interim deputy clerk is going through them now, and there will be changes, and we'll be bringing them back to you, but you passed it that way, and I thank you. And it's on the record that you did it that way, so I thank you. And if I'm not mistaken, staff almost have everything current. And we need to give our staff a wonderful round of applause.
yeah, absolutely.
Because we were definitely behind 2.5 years.
Wow.
And our goal is
Really?
to get OIG and everybody out of here.
Yeah,
So thank you, Susan.
and thank you.
Mr. Daughtry. Deidre, thank you. Everybody, and now that the interim clerk is here, I think we're gonna be in the right direction.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, so, let's move on. Number 5, discussion. LAGM HR salary and compensation plan. Clerk Commissioner Jacobs and Yolanda Mingazzo. Okay, Jeff?
Yeah,
Vote
there's,
Next week?
I have nothing to add to it. Just if you guys got a chance to go through the backup here, you can see the corrections that were made regarding the organizational structure.
Yeah.
The other corrections that were made in here. So that's, just move forward to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, put it on, so directed. And I do have to say, Yolanda was always there, and she's still there. Every time you called, she'd come out and meet, and I think she, from what I'm hearing, she's met with staff, and has staff, all their issues taken in consideration.
I think she's still meeting with Michelle.
Okay, very good. Michelle, did you want to say something for us?
Just wanted to put a reminder out there. I'm still waiting to meet with her. She's scheduled to meet with me on Monday. I'm quite sure, I'm sorry, Michelle Grooms, Billing Administrator. You all have received a copy of the email. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I'm still waiting. So hopefully we'll get, to meet on Monday.
So can I just make a statement? Madam Manager and Commissioner, can you make sure that meeting takes place so we don't have a issue at the voting meeting?
She will be at the holiday luncheon, and I'll be on over here, and they're supposed to meet after that.
And she assured Michelle that she would meet with her Monday after the
Wonderful. Okay.
holiday.
And I do have to say, Michelle did a terrific job at the turkey drive. Every time you looked up, she was shooting around, flying around, handing those turkeys out. So, and Madam Manager also, Agatha. Okay, so where are we at now, Madam Manager? Number,
I'm sorry, we're on number 6, the
Okay.
RFPs.
okay, discussion, number 6, discussion. Request for proposals, that's RFP, Town Manager, Agatha Muse-Salters.
The first one you have is the auditing RFP, and we've gone through, and I really want to thank Harry for taking the lead on this one. We've gone through and we put everything that's needed from the Auditor General, the state, everybody. It's really a comprehensive RFP, and if we have the dates in there that we need to be on track for this audit. It's time sensitive because after next week, when you all vote on it to have it released, we plan to have it released the next day, and we got deadlines for questions and everything to come in. When we have December 30th at 3 p.m. is the date that it come. All questions, all responses will come to our interim deputy town clerk so that we can have a good record. If any of them call about anything, then we will pass out an addendum if it warrants an addendum. And we will, if there are questions that everybody needs to know, we will send out the questions via the interim deputy town clerk. That's the way it's done, so that you can have official records of everything. And if there's any specific questions, I know I sent it to you late last night, but I did make myself available to still go over it, and I can still go over it up until the meeting next week. And I'll be able to discuss it with you, but if you check, we have gone through all of everything that needs to be in here to have a comprehensive audit and to keep the audit firm on track.
And I would just like to say, before we move on, I'm just interrupting a little bit. We can thank everybody, all our staff, I think everybody, and all the commissioners, each one of them, Gina, Jeffrey, Ray, myself, and the mayor. Everybody is working together to get everything organized. And I do have to say, if I leave somebody out, okay, then don't be mad. Be mad at Jeffrey Jacobs, okay? But don't be mad, because you're all much appreciated, and we all need to work together, which we're doing. It shows it tonight. Okay, so now I'm at where, number B. Oh, no, auditing service, you took care of A, so
Yeah.
B, RFP 2003 for town attorney services.
When I came on board, the contracts and the RFP, all the contracts had expired, and RFPs were brought forward, but you all asked me to bring them back within 30 days, in 90 days. And this meeting is in 90 days, and it will be released, in, December as well. And the date we're asking for the responses back is Monday, January 13, 2020 at 3 p.m. But however, on page, and I mentioned this one to you, well, what we're asking for, as a planning mechanism for you all, and you can decide later if you want staff, or if you want the planning contract, or the attorney contract, or the IT contract. Let me find it, to bring you to it. We have, for the, fee, we have, hold on.
Take your time.
I'll find it. I should know this by heart, where everything is. Okay, under number 7, on page 5. The first fee proposal is one for the RFP itself. When they look through the scope of work and they develop what it is, how you respond to an RFP. And then for a planning mechanism for the commission, in case you decide what you want to do, whether to bring a staff person in full-time or half-time, we're asking them what it would cost you to be a staff person, realizing that our HR consultant will have to do an analysis and come up with a compensation plan for it. But at least we have it in here, so at the planning time, if you can't decide right now how you want to do it, it's there for you, and they will submit it to us, and then you can decide how you want to do it when they come in, whether you want to continue as it is, or whether or not you want to bring the person perhaps in the staff. But that will be a decision you have to make. So we did develop the RFP to have both caveats for you. Okay? It's up to you all, but I wanted to give you choices,
Yeah.
and you'll have it.
The only problem I have right now, commissioners, and maybe I'm talking a little faster than when the issue develops, which will be next week. I know we've made a lot of changes, and I'm hesitant to start changing the town attorney and the planner and the IT. I mean, who's gonna fix our computers and phones? And and a problem that I'm seeing, and this is not, talking negative, this is just what I've observed. When someone new comes in, they have to start at the beginning. So is there a mechanism in there that we could keep the people? First of all, why are we doing this? You have to
Why are we
explain
doing
this so the
this?
public knows.
Because when I came on board, I was told, and then I read the OIG report, we were behind in all of our RFPs. All of our contracts had expired, and they recommended that we go out. The town attorney had drafted the RFP when I came on board, but I had to respectfully ask you to rescind those because it wouldn't have been fair. OIG or somebody would have gotten on us with the attorney drafting his own RFP. So that's why we asked, you all gave me permission to bring them back in 90 days. We have to advertise them. It's not saying that you're gonna get somebody new because the RFP is there. There's specifications there. We have things for qualifications, different things they have to do. The scope of work is written. If you want something else added in or taken out, you just have to let me know by the next meeting. It's not saying just because something is advertised that you might go away, because after we do the ranking and the scaling and you come back, the final vote will be on yours. But what they're saying is that all of these documents had to be advertised. I think I'm right, right, Commissioner Jacob?
It says every 6 years we have to go out for bid. No matter what, we need to go out for bid every 6 years.
Okay.
So,
So we're meeting that requirement, and that would take OIG off of us for that.
But it's not to say that we cannot, if the commission decides as a body that we could keep.
Right, because it's a request for proposal.
it's a bid, so you gotta take all bids into consideration, determine who you're gonna use and proceed forward with that. So it could be that same person, it could be another person, we could be bringing that position back in-house. It just depends. We bring things, we go out to contract to save money. And that's the purpose, to go out for contract. But to keep it competitive, every 6 years you have to go out for
Gotcha.
bid. And this hasn't been happening around here, so we have to do things the right way. And every 6 years they have to go out for bid, all the positions we have out there. So,
Okay.
also in this background agreement, the section regarding the background of the agreement, when it discusses the town, it says the town is governed by a mayor and 4 commissioners under the operating under the commission form of government. Actually, what it is it's 5 commissioners. The positions of mayor, vice mayor, clerk commissioner are just symbolic positions. They're not actual titles like that. So that needs corrected, because all 5 commissioners are equal across the board.
Or liaison.
And that's on every
To
single one
5
of these.
commissioners?
Yes, it needs to specifically state 5 commissioners.
And the votes are equal.
Okay.
Yes,
I will change that tonight.
and that's on all of them.
Okay, I'll change it on all 3. Tonight.
There's,
5.
Oh,
Oh,
5.
4. Oh, 4. You're right. The auditing has it too.
Yeah, all of them have it, right.
All 4. All of them have
I
it.
didn't see it in the audit one. I might have missed it, but
Okay.
I didn't highlight it in the audit one.
Okay.
Okay, so you want it to be 5 commissioners?
Yeah, it needs to
Okay.
state that 5 commissioners with some, you can put in there with symbolic titles, or, you could leave that out. Just
I like
I
that.
would,
5 commissioners.
I like the symbolic title.
well, we'll have to debate that later. Let's just leave it kind of blank.
5 commissioners, okay.
Yeah, I
But
think
did
that's
like
better.
it.
We're not just symbolic. I don't know, I punch the clock every day.
But
Okay,
see,
so,
collectively, you determine who
Yes,
the mayor
that's-
is, you
yeah.
determine who the vice mayor is,
Right.
you determine
Yeah.
who the clerk commissioner.
and we each have one vote.
Yeah, each of you collectively make that
Yeah.
determination, and then we work with it as a whole.
I'll change that. Any other changes?
And again, by doing these RFPs, we get the OIG off of us
Yeah,
based upon us not doing it over the last 15 years.
So that's another check off.
Yes, sir, one of those checks that you mentioned to me.
Okay, so we'll go to number 8. Are we ready to move on? Do we need to vote on anything next
No,
week
you
on this?
can't.
We're all
You
set?
can't.
No, you
Not
can't.
tonight,
No.
next week.
No.
Everything I say is gonna be for next week. Is
And
there,
then I ask you to look through them and let me know, before by next Monday, any changes, or Tuesday really, because they're already out there, and I can easily make the change it to a PDF and give it to, the interim deputy clerk and Ms. Davis to get on the agenda.
that's why commissioners, I think when we separate the workshop from the regular meeting and get it next week, that's gonna help a lot.
It will.
It's-
and then I could meet with you all like I had
There
planned
would be more time.
before the commission meeting.
Okay, let's move, then we'll move on. Number 8, discussion, reimbursement
Skip
of.
7.
Skip 7.
I skipped 7? I thought, okay. Number 7, consultant contracts, town manager, Agatha Muse-Salters.
You have the latitude to move these till, because I'm missing 3 that I need. Well, Mr. Miller sent me his. It said 90 days, and the 90 days would be the first week of January, I think.
Right. And there's actually an automatic rollover of 3 months, 30 days.
Right.
But, so that gives you an opportunity in January to address the issue.
Right. And what you'll be doing with these is deciding what your direction to me was to extend them for 90 days, which we did. And you also said that to bring them back within that 90 days, so you can decide whether you want to keep all of these or however you want to do it. So I was providing you the contracts, and maybe if you delay it for another month, we still will be okay, because I brought them in earlier. You can review them, and then if you have questions, we can discuss them at the January meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Is that all right, commissioners? That was number 7. We're done with that, Agatha?
Yes.
Okay, so number 8, discussion reimbursement of legal fees, Vice Mayor Clark and Attorney Ryan. And the question is, we passed an ordinance regarding attorney fees, and we asked you to do that. You prepared it and did it. We passed it. And then, so you want to talk a little bit about that? And then.
Oh, it's, you presented your bill, and it's up to the town commission to determine whether, if they're going to pay it or not.
Yeah, okay, so everything looks okay with you on my bills, the way they were submitted, the identifying, is everything okay? That's what I gotta know, or the commission should know.
Well, the bills are for the services they provided, and it's up to the commission to determine, you know.
Okay, so then put it on the agenda for,
Yep.
for next week. Okay, so let's go to number 9. Are we done with that one, everybody?
What about 8A? What is that, 8A?
Memo identification of town officials, that's the ordinance part of it, or his. What-
Where are you?
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah.
Number 8,
8A.
memo indemnification of town officials. Attorney Ryan, you want to
Right,
talk
that's
on
just
that
the
one?
background. That's the explanation of the procedure.
Oh, okay.
And that, yeah. So that's your memo you gotta look at?
Yep,
And we have
it's
an
upside down.
ordinance.
I got it.
Okay, and then B, attorney fees, Vice Mayor Clark. Okay, so I've submitted attorney fees, and then we have to vote up or down on them next week. Number 9.
Wait.
Oh,
Before we
go
go
ahead.
forward, what is the total on this? This is like sacks and sacks.
Yeah.
What are these fees for? That's what were the attorneys for on this? This is what I'm asking.
During the, when the OIG looked at whether, whatever their whole thing was, I was being blamed, and the mayor was being blamed, and other people were being blamed for wrongdoing that, or lack of the right word, something that somebody else might have been done. In the end, I was exonerated. Okay, I did nothing wrong. And the difficult part here is that when you get involved in this, the town attorney cannot represent us. He represents the town. So you're almost forced to go out and get someone to advise you. And so that's what all that's for. Then I think part of it isn't also part of it, Chris, you'll have to help me on this because I haven't looked at these in a long time. Part of these is with the Progressive lawsuit.
You know, and Vice Mayor, I'll look at them again, but I haven't reviewed them either recently.
I would need the backup on this too to look at
I think it's all in
this.
there, isn't the backup? I
Is
think
it
the
in
backup
here?
is in here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's all the receipts from the attorneys. It just says Town of Pembroke Park at Progressive Waste.
Yeah,
and,
that
you
was
know.
the lawsuit with Progressive.
And what year was this?
I don't know, you have to look at it
Yeah,
and
okay.
see it all.
18.
I submitted it to the town attorney for his review.
This was a couple of years ago?
It's dated 2017, 2018.
I don't remember you weren't called to the OIG.
Yes,
You
I
did-
was.
I thought you voluntarily went there.
I was called.
You were called down there?
Yes.
I thought it was just the mayor.
No, it was a lot of people here.
Well, I know it was Bob Levy. We need to look at that. Chris,
Well, go-
I don't remember,
let
I
the-
mean, I
let the
just
town
want to look
attorney-
at this.
Yeah, and let the
That's
town
all.
attorney Ryan, was
Before I
called
can make
down
my final decision.
They asked certain people to show up without going through our office, so if you say yes, then that's what it was. There was
I
no
was
notice
called
was
down.
provided to us, yeah.
I was called down.
I just don't remember that, Howard. That's why I'm just,
It's all there.
I'm
And
gonna-
one thing about it, I did it the right way as I was told to do it.
but why did you wait so long to?
Well, it's just now, it's still going on.
When did
all
we
of
do
that.
the ordinance on this? For the attorney fees?
The ordinance is in.
Is that in here?
Is in our codif, no, but it's available online and,
Do we have it?
yeah, if you go look in,
I just would like
should
to
be in
see
your
the
code
date.
ordinance, don't you have
Take a
a
look.
book
Well,
of
the
ordinances?
dates
Yeah.
I thought it was in October the 18th, in 2018.
I don't know, you'll have to look at all the bills. The
Okay, no,
bills were all
but I'll look at it. As
itemized,
long as it's here, I just want to make sure that,
And unlike others, that they didn't come in front of the commission, I'm following the rule, and I brought it all forward as I was instructed to do. It's all itemized, it's all clear.
but why is the garbage? What does that have to do with
That is progressive.
progressive? So what is,
Progressive was a lawsuit they filed against the town.
yes,
Pending,
Okay.
still pending.
but I thought, why would you
They were
have to
gonna,
go?
they had part of their documents, my name was mentioned to come in there. And so I had to have counsel to get ready. They were gonna pull me in, but they never did. They still could. But I'm involved, I was
You have-
involved.
But do you have documentation saying that they were going to pull you in?
Well, I was named somewhere in the documents.
Okay,
So I had to have counsel to advise me what to do, and that's what that's about.
okay, but my question is, I'm not attacking you or nothing like that. I just want to
you
make
wanna
sure
know.
things are right,
All right?
done right. We have our council, and how come we couldn't use?
Our council has to represent the town. Can't represent us individually. And when you get involved in this stuff, correct,
No,
Attorney
I want him to
Ryan?
correct that. Can you answer that?
represent the town, you don't represent commissioners. So every time OIG called,
The OIG is, you have your separate counsel. The progressive one, which I have to look at, but we can represent officials from the town, whether they be employees or elected officials, because it is litigation against the town, and as an employee of the town, you are covered, you would be a witness of the town, so you would be that we could provide legal services for.
okay, so my point is this. I followed everybody's instructions, okay? Now, Attorney Ryan, I would assume, has to go through the bills and say what bill.
And I will.
Well, that's important. That's what
I
I keep
think so.
saying. I've been saying this for 3 months, just so the record's clear. I've been asking for a comparison, what is included and what is not. Those are all the bills, which were paid for, and the town didn't pay for these up front. I paid for them. So then you ask for reimbursement, and I would think that the town attorney needs to go through the bills, and then the ones that he
And look-
feels like are not the ones to have, then those should come up next week, Chris. That's what I've been asking.
You're correct.
But I'm just saying, it's 2 years, and,
Well, the period of time between when the services were provided and his request for payment is not relevant. I mean,
No, I'm
if-
just
if-
saying-
If they were,
Why
the
did you
facts
wait so
haven't
long?
changed.
I think I understand what she's asking. She's like asking if there was an ordinance that was changed after this had already started.
October 2018, I think.
Oh, that's what you're asking? What,
Yeah.
Attorney Ryan? I thought you
Well,
only did it one time.
No, there was a
That's
policy
what we
which was
voted
adopted by resolution of the town commission. Then it was later codified by an ordinance for reimbursement of attorney's fees for elected officials and for town employees. I'd have to go, I'd have to cross-check the dates and see which one would apply at which period of time.
Just to make sure, 'cause, you know, we don't want to make any
Has to be
mistakes.
done right.
It has to be done right, correct.
So would you check that out, Chris, for us?
Yes, and I confer, concur with the vice mayor. He has asked me to look at this for a while and hasn't been.
Wow.
Lots of other stuff going on too, though, but.
Yeah, and so just have it ready for next week, if you will. Okay, so they'll do the dates or, okay, and if it's not included, then you need to say it up
Right.
front. That's what I
Okay.
asked you to do. Okay? Okay, so is that enough of that one? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Number 9, discussion, general discussion, Vice Mayor Clark. Okay, golf carts. Number 8, we had asked, or it was on the agenda, and we said that we were going to bring golf carts back up in December. Okay, for a vote, there was 2 golf carts that they were looking, the mayor was looking to get. And so Todd, you want to comment on that and where we stand with that?
Yes, we solicited proposals, bids, and the commission approved the purchase of 2 golf carts prior to the health fair. They were not purchased prior to the health fair due to the fact that they sold the ones that they were going to give us, and they didn't have any other ones ready at the time. In the interim time, there's been some other odd expenses that came up, and this was put on hold until the commission could decide whether they wanted to go ahead and purchase those golf carts anyway, because they're a budgeted item and they are used throughout the year for other events too, or to transfer that money for some other purpose. That's what, so we're just here for some direction.
Vice Mayor, now, I supported this, okay, the golf carts, okay? But now I'm hearing that we need a new AC system. Okay? And to me, I think the money, we should be using that money for our AC system because we are short funds. And I think that, you know, I think the golf carts, I think we should just put that on hold because the AC unit is more important to the town than golf carts. So that's all I'm going to say on that, but that's how I feel now.
So let's put it on next week for a vote.
Yeah.
Put it down on the agenda, and we'll raise the question, and it's up to the commission. It's in the budget, so it was a budgeted item.
No,
but
no, and you're right, but I'm
Okay.
just saying,
We changed, you
may
can
I
do that.
just, I'm sorry, but just because it's budget for that doesn't mean we have to use it for that. We can use it for other important things.
Yeah. Well, the problem, their argument of we're going to lease them anyway or rent them, and if you buy them, then you own them, and you don't pay the rental. So it's going to be an ongoing expense.
And
you want to explain that a little bit, how your theory?
No, and I'm sorry, but
Well-
I understand that completely, but we have an AC unit that we need, and that's more important, Howard, right now, and we need the money for that. And that's all I'm,
But your argument, I'd like the public to hear why you're moving to get the golf carts.
The reason it is that we pushed for the golf carts is because every time we rent the golf carts, it costs us more than $1,000. And for the 800?
No, it was only 400 a piece.
Okay, 400 pieces, $800 to rent golf carts for the.
No, Harry gonna, he's
let
gonna
Harry
correct
come
me.
up,
He's going to give us the.
because I want to make sure of
Because
this
it
too,
didn't
that I'm,
cost the 1,600 that we thought it was gonna cost.
I I'm sorry, Harry Taubenfeld, Budget and Finance. I believe originally the quote was for $1,300 to rent the golf carts. In reviewing the receipts for the festival, the event, the amount that it was charged was $470 for the golf carts for the health fair.
Give us a deal.
That each golf cart?
Hold on. I think it was total, so if we, I don't, let me pull the bill. So it was, the total charge was $470. And
It
it was
was
for two, yes, it was $235 for each.
$235 each?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next week, the mayor will be here next week?
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll be here, and then she can explain also with Todd, and we can hear it. Okay, so that's up on the agenda for next week, and then we'll decide as a commission.
Can I ask one more question, Vice Mayor? How much is it for the AC unit? I know we need a new unit. Maybe you can answer that, Todd?
Yeah, I got the quotes in today, or yesterday, I think, for the third floor, one of the compressors is out.
Right.
And to replace that compressor is just shy of $7,000. And we're also going to need to replace the pump on the outside, which I figure is going to be around $1,200 to $1,400. The rest of the system is all operational and working, but it is old, and in the near future, we're going to have to do some more work on it because it's been about 16, 17 years ago when I purchased it. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but we've been maintaining it. We have a maintenance contract to keep it up so that we have less repairs. But there are items that are wearing out because of the age.
Okay, so again, put it on the agenda, the mayor will be back. Everybody make their arguments for or against, and we'll vote and decide, and we'll do whatever the commission decides. Simple as that.
And what I'll do is include all the AC charges and what the cost is in my report.
Well, I don't know
Yeah,
the repairs
that
work,
would-
yes.
that would be-
That's important, and
Yeah,
that
so
might
they
be the
can
better
see it,
way
we
to
can
go.
see it.
This is back business. This is old business, and what we did was we said we'll bring this up in December, and that's why it's back up on the floor again, and the mayor's not here, so I took it up for her. But we'll bring it back up next week. Okay, so let's go with B, International Promotions, honoring BSO. And what that is on December 11th, 2019, at 10 a.m., we're going to honor our firefighters and our police officers, over at the Circle of Palms.
That'll be our BSO,
It's BSO.
and that'll be noticed, so commissioners all can be there, and
Yeah, that's
Okay.
why I'm doing it,
All right.
trying to do it the right way. And I gotta say, the manager keeps everybody in line.
Yes.
She tells you what to do.
12/17, is that it? Did you say 12/17?
What?
December 17?
No, 11th, December 11th.
December 11, okay.
And then I just have to ask Captain Coker, I call her chief, but is everything okay with your wording? You want to come up and just say, because I know staff's been working with you on all the wording. Is that okay? Everything is okay? They've been communicating with you and everything's going to be just fine? It's only a week away.
Good evening, Captain Stephanie Coker, Broward Sheriff's Office. Yes, sir, everything's taken care of. The wonderful ladies have taken care of us, so they got everything all taken care of.
And thank you very much, and it's an honor to have you here with us. You go out and protect us, the firefighters and the,
We appreciate it. It's an honor as well to serve the town.
yeah, and thank you, Jeff. Okay, we got a good crew, and they
Thank
risk
you.
their lives. Okay, so that'll be quite a nice occasion. And remember, submit your bills to the manager. Remember, 2 weeks. So your bill should have, Madam Manager, have you gotten discussion about how much this is all going to cost from your staff?
Yes, we've talked about it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, thank you.
So you'll have everything ready, so we're trying to set a example of what staff is looking for when we hold these events, and we're not just doing it at the very end and sending everybody in a chaotic mode, okay? Okay, so it's one blood time again, and we need Chris to just, I guess, reread the resolution for one blood and change the dates. Okay, and Jeffrey, you want to come up and tell the commission a little bit about that? He met with One Blood the other day. I was busy. I had another.
You want that read, or do you want that consent?
Which one?
One blood resolution?
Well, we've heard it before. It's up to the, I'm not going to say that. It's up to the manager and the clerk whether they want it read or whether
Send
they.
a copy to the deputy clerk so we can have it on the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so then it'll be out there open to the public. Okay, and they'll make that decision, Chris, not me.
Okay.
Okay, so Jeffrey, you want to give them an update?
Yes, I met with One Blood and also the coordinator for Park Lake Estates, who hosts the One Blood event. It's held at Park Lake at their Monte Carlo room. The person that's usually in charge, which is Paul Thoreau, is stepping down, and another person, which is John Mark Dupart, is replacing him. So we had a meeting just to discuss what has been processed in the past and how it was working, so that way he gets an understanding of it. And he usually, for the last 3 years, the town has participated with Park Lake and One Blood, and what we provide is flyers are distributed to our community, so that way anybody in the town can participate with One Blood and donating blood at that event. So this year is the same as the last few years. What they have done is provided us with the flyers in different variety of forms, and we've been able to post it on our website, our Facebook, and throughout the communities in order for the residents to be aware of this event. And we also have banners that we'll post up throughout town as well. So it's not costing the town. They're providing all the details and the information to do so.
And it does save lives. They've collected blood and they've shown that they've saved lives. And
Oh, it's a very good event.
Right. I think last year they did about 125 people, which is really good.
okay, that's it, Jim?
The only other thing that the town provides is they do a raffle at that event. So we provide any of our town, what do you call them?
Tchotchkes.
Gifts, tchotchkes, to be a basket, so that way they can give that out as a raffle item.
Okay, very good, Jeff. Thank
Okay.
you.
And I'm sorry, that date for
Yeah, the date.
One Blood will be February 15th, 2020. I'm sorry, 2020.
Wow.
7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
So everybody has that?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Okay, so then we got E, Agro Eco Wellness Program. As you know, for a couple of years, we've been dealing with Focal Point.
We skipped D.
What's that?
Did we skip D, purchase order process?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay. So let's go back up to D, Purchase Order Process, Assistant Finance Director Harry and Vice Mayor Clark. Okay, you want to come up, Harry, and tell them, okay, here's what happened. As a result, saw a lot of commotion, or there is commotion, with staff presenting bills or commissioners or whoever is involved in something. So what I did was I met with Harry and the manager, and they have worked out a procedure, what they want to do to make things what they feel like better. So you want to go ahead and explain?
Sure. Just to further add to what the Vice Mayor was saying, one of the challenges as the Budget and Finance Director is, well, one of the responsibilities as the Budget and Finance Director is to make sure that we obviously stay in line with the budget. One of the challenges that I see as sitting in this chair is that I'm typically finding that the department in itself is finding out expenses after the fact, meaning that bills are being submitted for payment, and at that point in time, I can't do my job effectively and properly if I'm getting the invoices and bills after the fact as opposed to verifying, making sure that there's even money allocated for these individual line items. So the recommendation, having conversations with various department heads and meeting with the town manager and the vice mayor, one of the things I would like to recommend is to add to the town ordinance and the purchasing manual policy and requiring that any charge over $750 require a purchase order. This will give us a better handle as to what our expenses are, where our money is being spent prior to it being spent, as opposed to finding out after the fact.
Okay, so if there's no discussion, then would you put that down on the agenda to be voted, and you'll have the wording with the attorney, how you want to do that? I imagine it would be what, Chris, a resolution?
Yeah, I would recommend a resolution to adopt that policy, and then Harry and I can talk between now and next week and just do the step-by-step process of how the procedure's going to go forward.
Sure.
And what we're trying to eliminate, commissioners, is any confusion, trying to make it more fine-tuned, the manager and the finance and budget director. And I think all of us see that, there's been some chitter chat about, when do you do this, when do you do that? This is going to fine or tune it. And I think we knew that, Chris, when you did the ordinance, 6 months ago, a year ago?
Well, the
we were going to
yeah,
come back and fine tune it.
Well, we do have a purchasing manual, and that's been adopted, and it has.
Yeah, the purchasing manual's been
Yes,
adopted,
yeah.
but the purchasing manual states that any charge over $1,500 requires a purchase order and commission approval. So the recommendation is to make the TO $750, so it just keeps us more in line and the finance department more aware as to how money's being spent, where it's being spent, and how much is being spent.
And then the other concern you had, he had commissioners and the manager, is that you want to be up front in getting the information.
Yeah,
Instead of,
it's just about being proactive as opposed to being reactive. Again, so right now, the way the situation is as it's happening, is that finance is being reactive to every situation. Once the bill comes in, there's nothing, and the services have been rendered, there's not much, at the point the town is committed, it has to make payment. Regardless of whether it's a budget item, non-budgeted, if it takes us and exceeds the budget. So again, in order for me to properly do my job, making sure that the finances are being handled properly, it's just an added step so that we know how the money is being spent prior to spending it, and making sure that we have the funds available to spend it.
okay, very good. I think you explained it. Manager, you want to comment on that at all, or you're okay?
It's just that all I ask everybody to do is just follow the policy that you all developed.
Okay.
And we'll all be okay and stay out of trouble.
Okay, so Susie, you put that down. You got that one? Okay, so we go back to E, Agro-Eco Wellness Program. This is, again, is about Focal Point. They offer services to the town and the area on aging, which we've been a member with. And we're also, I believe, Dee, aren't we a member right now currently with the Focal Point? Or Miriam? Dee and Miriam are the ones that went over to Miramar with me to the Focal Point. Does one of you want to come up here? Okay, you both can hold hands and come up here together. I didn't mean that. Okay, come on up, or come on, Dee.
You want to skip to?
Oh, it's skip rope. Oh,
Deirdre Davis, Administrative Assistant Town Manager. What Vice Mayor Clark is talking about is we had gone and visited the Miramar Focal Point, trying to get some services over here on this side of town. They have a great deal of services for our seniors. They also have a great deal of services that could be offered to anyone of any age in the town. So what we're trying to do is partner with them to get them to come over. They sent over last month a needs assessment application to find out exactly what we need in the town. So we want to go forward with that.
And we've been working with them. We had the walkathon. Remember the walkathon that we had? That was under the wellness. And they came over, and all it cost us at that time was water. We didn't spend a lot of money. So we're trying to work with them, and they can work with us, and trying not to spend a lot of money. And they also mentioned that they would like to come over. They're going to have an event sometime, what was it, in March or February?
In February, they do their walkathon over there, I believe it's 100 feet or whatever, walkathon over there. And they're inviting us to come over and join in with them as well.
Yeah, 100 miles, that's a long walk.
100 miles. You guys can do 100 miles. I'll do like
We're gonna
the
have to
10
get
miles.
extra tennis shoes, okay,
Yeah.
So we want to go forward with this application. They want some more information about us, and Deetra and Miriam, who's been working on it, just telling you that they'll continue with the manager and get all that, and whoever else the manager puts in with it, as long as it's a success and we can get more services, for the citizens of Pembroke Park. So that's what that is. Okay, so F, MPO, F dot, none. G, annexation, none. Okay, now we'll go to, what is that, 10? Discussion, unity of title, Attorney Ryan.
Okay, this is the item that came up. The property owner at 4250, as a condition of their site development plan approval, which you all approved back in, I think it was September, October, needed to grant a unity of title stating that the parcels will not be separated while this development is going forward. And that's what this document is, just your approval of that and acceptance, and then we'll get it recorded.
Okay, so let me just read the whole thing.
That can go on consent.
And it's number 10, discussion, unity of title, Attorney Ryan, 42, I heard a cough, 4250 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard. That's the property I assume that it pertains to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's on consent. Okay, number 11, discussion, 2019 healthcare bills, Mayor Mohammed. What do you want to do with those?
I believe Mayor Mohammed wanted this one pulled until next week when she's here.
Point of order, Vice Mayor?
Yeah.
What happened was that, Mayor Mohammed.
I wanted to let you know that Mayor Mohammed wouldn't be able to attend this meeting, but her items were placed on here. So what I'm recommending is that you go ahead and what's going to happen with the two resolutions that are attached, which is number 12, those resolutions can go before the commission if you guys at the next meeting are in support of bringing it as a town resolution. You can ask that of the town attorney, and he could go ahead and do that. The other item is the one that's number 11, which you're talking about at the moment, and those were items that she had spoken about at the last meeting and was going to elaborate further. Because she's not here, I would greatly appreciate if we can just go ahead and skip those items and give the mayor an opportunity to actually elaborate when she is present.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't have any problems with that. The rest of you okay with that? So directed. Susie? Okay, and number 12, we can address those at the next meeting. Discussion, resolutions, Mayor Mohammed, anti-abortion and mitigating coral reef disease. A is anti-abortion, B is mitigating coral reef disease.
And in your backup, you'll see that there's two resolutions that were adopted by the city of Miami Beach, and asking that the town adopt resolutions following the general content and of those resolutions. So we can draft them into our form, and then it can be available for your consideration at the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion, questions? Jeffrey, Ray, Gina? No. Okay. 13, ordinance, second reading. A, Chapter 10, flood prevention and protection.
These were both came up at the last meeting. The flood prevention is a request from the building official and from the public works director to modify some of the flood elevation matters in the flood code, which would allow for less restrictions on development for manufactured housing within the town. And then Mr. Miller made a presentation on Chapter 21, the sign code changes. That's basically for changing the requirements for lighting on canopies at gasoline filling stations. Both those matters have been pretty well covered previously.
Okay.
Be up for second reading and public hearing.
Okay. so that finishes those, so. let's go, 14, okay. Okay, number 14, announcements. And we're going to, as we already discussed, honoring BSO Wednesday, December 11th, 2019 at 10 a.m. Okay, then we have a holiday giveaway Thursday, December 19th, 2019. And we have bulk pickup Thursday, January 2nd, 2020.
What is the time, Vice Mayor, for the holiday giveaway?
What time is anybody, would you,
I think it's from 4.
yeah, it's in the
From 4 to 9.
4 to 9?
4 to 9? Okay, thank you, Madam Manager.
Walk faster, Jeffrey.
What?
Trying to get out of here.
Yes, for the holiday giveaway, which is the toy drive, it's from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. on that Thursday. We just also want to let everyone know that we are still taking in registration for the giveaway, and that will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. To have residents come in and register.
Drop me off the flyers, please.
Yes.
And then the other note is, what is it, Friday, we're going to attend a meeting over at Pembroke Park Lakes. Annually, the town, and usually it's me, meets with the snowbirds as they come back. We've already met with Park Lake Inc. and gave them an update on the annexation, and they're asking us to go over and give them a little bit of information about the update on annexation. And I know it would probably be a good time for Madam Manager to come and Assistant Manager, and of course, any commissioners. I'm going to exclude the town attorney. He already cost us enough.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm only playing with you, Chris. Okay, so are we done with everything? You wanted,
Last one,
I
bulk
forgot there was one thing.
pickup. Did you say the pickup? The bulk
Joy had
pickup?
asked me, the pickup,
yeah, let's pick up.
want to address the pickup, yeah?
Yep, who's pickup?
Bulk
Bulk
pickup.
Bulk pickup.
Yeah.
How does that work? And Ray might know that one. Ray, do
Oh,
you
you.
understand?
The
Is
bulk
that-
pickup is for those who have service through the town for their garbage, which would be the duplexes and the single-family homes. It's done 6 times a year, every other month, starting in January. And it's always the first Wednesday of the month, and that's when that is. January 2nd is the first Wednesday of the month.
Thank you. Joy had asked me to bring to you, back in, I believe it was September, you had agreed to let staff be off for the holiday luncheon, and the holiday luncheon is Monday, and I just want to remind you about that. And that staff we would close town hall until they come back, and we'll put up a public notice and all that it would be closed. Because it is a holiday luncheon for the employees, and you all voted, and thank you very much for doing that they could be off. But they will be returning to work after the luncheon.
Yeah.
It's not closed.
For a siesta.
And that's it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Now we'll start down this side. Ray, you have anything for us?
That's
No,
all
not right now.
Okay, very good. And good to see you back, Ray.
Thank you.
I know they're snowed in up there, up north.
Crazy.
And Jeffrey, Commissioner Jacobs, you got anything for us?
Nothing to say.
Okay, and the only thing I would want to remind everybody or state, occasionally in these wellness programs and the agro-eco, there's little seminars and stuff like with the extension, the IU extension, and we just want to announce that we might attend, but it would be in the budget, and of course it would have to be, everything would have to be looked at by all the staff people.
No, all is well.
All is well, I like that. Okay, town attorney,
I don't have any additional comments, thank you.
okay, the only thing I can ask, would you please do that comparison for me for next week?
I'll have that ready.
And whatever it is, just call and tell me, I'm gonna do whatever you say.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
and Agatha, do you have, okay, and Mr. Daltrey? Todd Larson? Public
Nothing
Works?
further.
You're okay? And Susie? And great job. Okay, and Marlon? Whoop, you dropped the paper back there. Okay, anything from you to none? Okay, and that's it. So adjourn.